Brazil, Latin America's most populous country, and one with a history of financial turbulence. With a strong preference for cash and a fondness for installment payments, Brazil's payment story is an interesting one. Yet it's the latest chapter in the Brazilian payment story that has perhaps had the most impact in the way Brazilians make payments. It's the rags to riches story of PIX, a real-time payment scheme owned, managed, and developed by the Brazilian Central Bank. When it comes to instant payments, it's safe to say all eyes are on PIX and Brazil. The monumental rise of PIX is a success story that is seen by many as a case study of best practice when introducing real-time payments from scratch. With heavy reliance on cash payments by the banked population and high volumes of debit and credit cards, introducing a customer-friendly and free-to-use instant payments rail has led to unprecedented uptake. PIX has also opened the door to innovation and improvements to the Brazilian financial ecosystem, creating a shining example for wider Latin America and the world to learn from.
It is basically a huge success case that we have here, with a huge adoption, and also we are breaking records of the number of transactions and also the number of the users as we go.
PIX was launched in 2020 by the Brazilian Central Bank, and adoption was immediate. In just 6 months of operation, the new system transacted more than 1 trillion Brazilian real. Its success has been driven by a number of factors, including its extremely user-friendly QR code scanning mechanism.
We saw a huge growth phase in 2021 where we hit 500% year-on-year growth in terms of number of transactions in that year, which was due to a combination of a strong government push for the scheme, a wide variety of use cases, an implementation of the scheme where it could partner with mobile services already in the market, as well as a strong consumer uptake due to the conditions around the pandemic at the time.
For the e-commerce market, the take-up of PIX as a payment option was immediate.
In January 21, about 17% of the stores in e-commerce were accepting PIX. In July 22, 76% of the stores are accepting PIX, and we expected that number goes up to over 90% soon.
Making PIX immediately available to the entire banked population has also been instrumental in its quick growth, driven by strong central bank leadership.
The social impact and also the rapid growth in Brazil, it is basically related to several aspects here. The number one that I would say it is the central leadership role of Brazil's central bank. That basically says that the PIX adoption and offer, it is mandate to every great financial institution here in Brazil, meaning that the entirely banked population in the country have access to these services.
Real-time payments in the form of PIX are evolving the way Brazilians use non-cash payment options, and ensuring access to every person with a bank account has proved instrumental for widespread take-up.
PIX today in Brazil, that was the immediate payments implemented by central bank. In the beginning as a mandatory brought by the regulator, but now we see that this payment method is bringing a new customer experience and enable people that was not being able to pay before using cashless solutions happening today.
And the change is impacting businesses too, as they are able to move away from paper-based transactions towards new payment methods, opening up new opportunities.
We see that today it's improving a lot of the B2B payments that in the past was running on papers, and we see a lot of this happening today, and bringing an opportunity to include a lot of new fintechs that now are exploring new customer experience and new payment methods in the market.
The strong growth of Brazil's digital ecosystem is creating new opportunities for payment transformation. QR code payments, made popular by PIX, are now being used by at least 3 out of 10 Brazilians. And this is just the start.
We use buy now, pay later on the credit card rails since the 90s. And I think PIX has the opportunity to bring new players into the business, being able to offer buy now, pay later from a totally different experience, with a very low cost of transactions using the rails from PIX.
Real-time payments are also helping to level the playing field for the new neobanks and digital banks as they compete with established institutions. The ability to offer real-time payment options is now seen as an opportunity not to be missed.
Even for the small neobanks and fintechs that were basically not mandated to offer PIX, it is important to have this on those in their futures to offer to that population and for their customers too, because you know what you're going to say to your customer if you do not provide PIX as a transfer method, for example.
Innovation is vital to spur competition, and in this respect, real-time payments are already driving change. For instance, creating an alternative to the existing TED and DOC fund transfer options.
Before PIX, it was impossible to send money from a bank account to a digital account. So the new banks had no way to compete with a traditional financial institution. And what PIX did, equalized everything. So now I can send you money from a digital account to your traditional bank account or vice versa, which makes a much more competitive environment, and new banks and traditional banks can compete much better.
The introduction of a real-time payments rail is also allowing the development of value-added services that simply weren't available before.
We needed to look at PIX together with the Open Finance and combine it with the CBDC or Real Digital. Well, we know that the central bank is working around this. And when we put those three together, what we see is a new rails of payments. Programmable, that we can add data, we can add lots of things, including financial service, into the same railroad.
PIX has only been running since 2020. So although extremely successful, it's just the beginning in terms of bringing the benefits of real-time payments to life. E-commerce and fund transfers have been the first areas to benefit from the efficiency and lower costs the new technology delivers. But there is a world of opportunity in other areas, particularly in the physical realm. And its additions, such as QR code functionality, cross-border and better reconciliation, will break down the barriers and enable even greater usage to the benefit of both retailers and consumers across Brazil and the wider LATAM region.
PIX is working quite well in the e-commerce, as we mentioned before, but on the physical stores, we still have something to fix. What that means? Well, when I go to a store to pay for something, I needed that the PIX be integrated with the front end of the store. And today, not all are integrated. So the integration will change the experience not only for the buyer, it would make the payments much easier using perhaps contactless or a dynamic QR code, but also from the seller point of view. We needed to get the experience from the seller much better. The confirmation of the payment will be directly to their front end, and the reconciliation will be done automatically, which is not today.